All right.
All right, well, welcome everyone. We hope that you have done your homework and have read through the required chapters in the frameworks book and have seen one example in one of the tables in chapter 9 so that you have some ideas of what an outdoor activity might encompass and what portions of the standards might be followed in doing something outdoors with your students. We have a great yard, garden, whatever you want to call it, right here at Eastern. There's the property of the campus itself, which we're not touring today. But then we also have sort of a wild area out behind us here called the Arboretum. That's why we're meeting here in the joinery, is because we have this beautiful place outside. As we go outdoors, the topics that could be covered here cover everything from the physical sciences to the earth sciences to the biological sciences. Liz and I are mostly biologists, so of course we're going to be focusing on that. That's not the only thing we talk about though. So be alert that we're going to be talking a little bit about the physical environment, seasonality. We'll be talking about the climate and the weather and some of the other aspects, the interrelationships between the environment and the organisms that we're going to be seeing. The relationships between the organisms that we're seeing. So there's abiotic factors like light and water and soil and so on. And then there's also the biotic factors, the interaction between organisms, both plants and animals like arthropods. When we go out in the field, there are a few things that are really, really important. We are going to divide you up into two groups, and some of you maybe already know the divisions, but for those of you who are teaching or interested in N through grade 3, we'd like you to be in one group, and you're going to go with Liz first this morning. And so Liz will be taking you out to look at some bugs this morning. And I'm the plant guy, and so everyone who is grade 4 through 12 or interested in teaching that sort of thing will go with me first. In the afternoon, we'll swap. So you'll see both of us, don't worry about it. And if you didn't like bugs, we can do plants. If you didn't like plants, well, you'll have a turn at bugs. So everybody gets a turn at everything. Out in the field, there are some issues, logistical issues. Besides being divided in half, even being divided in half, we're still a pretty large group. Now, I know you're thinking, yeah, but I have 29 children in my class, and that's really unmanageable in the field. Let's just say that right now. Without a few parents, without a few staff members, some paraprofessionals, something to help you out, it's very difficult to operate with a crowd that large in the field. For us today, one of the most important things you can do is try to stay with us. We have no amplification. No microphones. Liz and I have big booming voices that we use when we're in big classrooms, and we'll use them as much as we can. If you can't hear, please speak up. But most importantly, stay close. Stay together. If you're a person who likes to explore and you like to launch and just run through the environment, you will miss 99% of what you want to see. Okay? And because you're so far ahead of us, you won't hear a thing. And the educational value of what you're getting for your time will be close to zero. You might have some athletic value, but not much educational value. So please stay with us. Try to stay close. The trails are narrow. It's hard to stay close. I've been with leaders in the field who just launch and run through the woods, and nobody gets anything from them. I'm more like the opposite. I tend to move very slowly because I really don't like that style of leadership. So I'm going to be going fairly slowly. I don't think any of you will have too much trouble staying with me. For those of you who are maybe more, I hate to use the letters ADHD, but if you're like that, you might have a hard time wanting to stay with us. But please try to do that so you can get the most out of the experience.
And I think the big thing too is don't be afraid to ask questions. We're more than happy to answer what we can. What we'd like you to do on your way through is the goal for today is really, can you develop some lesson plans for your particular school? And so as we're going through, yes, your environment is going to be different, you know, unless you can pick up and move what we're going to be showing you to your school. That's not going to happen. So what we want you to do is start thinking of creative ways that you can introduce these topics of plants and animals, if you will, to your students in the way appropriate for your school. So part of this will obviously be done in the Arboretum. My group, I'll also come up here in front of where they have the early childhood, if you will, nursery school, where there's some plantings of various flowers which are just starting to come into bloom. So we'll take a look at those too. So you can get an idea of, if you just have a garden per se and not really kind of a wilderness-y type area, what you can do. I mean, that's the key. So as you go through, think of those ways. And at the end, and I know from the Fairfield group, who is it that are far, far away, we're going to foreshorten the lunch by about half an hour, because I think there was a group that I can't blame them because Sikorsky does not supply helicopters, unfortunately. Would like to hit the dusty trails home before too late. So we'll see how quickly we can go. So basically that's sort of the battle plan for the day. Again, we'll go through things with you, speak with people in your group if you see something. If you've got pen and pencil with you, even better, or if you've got, of course, a tablet or your cell phone and want to make a note of something you saw or something you think you could do within your class, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, and I'll just underscore that by saying, and if you see something that I don't see or that Liz doesn't see,
Tell us.
Immediately call our attention. You know, we only have 2 eyes, and we're thinking and talking on our feet, which means that we might not see everything. And those of you who are a little bit bored with the slow pace of Ross, well, maybe look at some things and pick up a few things. Hey, how about this one?
Yeah.
Speak right up, because I won't notice your raised hand probably because I'm looking at the vegetation myself.
Yeah, we saw something on our walk through together that I noticed a tree that he had never noticed before, and
Right.
we keyed it out. So,
Right.
that's
So
the
I'll be
thing.
showing that one to you in the plant class.
Tupelo.
Yeah. Right.
So,
So, and there's always new things to see. And with many eyes, there are many things for us to see. Don't forget to use your ears. Many of the animals you will not see, because as far as they're concerned, an entire herd of Tyrannosauruses just invaded their space, and they're probably going to be lunch if they make anything visible of themselves in the environment. So listen for bird sounds, listen for animal sounds, look for the signs of animals, because they are much harder to see than the plants are, okay? Liz is going to show you really great techniques for looking at arthropods, but vertebrates and other things that you might be interested in, that your students might be interested in, they're a lot harder to look at. People who are out in front of the group, you have a golden opportunity to look down the trail where no one has been yet. And there might be things happening there that all the rest of us will miss because we're in the clamoring herd, okay? So.
and we'll keep our fingers crossed. We did see a monarch butterfly
Yeah.
on our walk on, what was it, Tuesday, so.
And we heard a raptor. We did not see it, but we heard it while
Yeah,
we were out on
red-tailed
our
hawk,
walk.
so.
We've
down
seen
there.
great horned owl here before with students, so it is possible to see some really cool things if we pay attention with our ears and our eyes. What?
Saw rabbits when I got my car for the picture.
Could be breakfast for the right raptor. And that's, of course, one of the lessons you want to teach your students about, right? All organisms depend upon the others in the environment for their food and their energy.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, one of the things that I really, really want you to be thinking about is you've got a schoolyard. Even the gardens people, you've got a schoolyard. Each one looks very different, and you've got really cool places in your town that are very, very close by to your school. Think about how you can use those spaces in some of the skills that you're learning here. And as you track forward through the program, there are all kinds of different experiences that we're going to have in this program. How can you use that school site? Somebody, something, all kinds of things live in that place. I don't care if you're 95% tarred surfaces, it is still a habitat. How do you use that to the max with your kids, because that's right outside your door. You can do that 10 times a year, 20 times a year in going out there. You'll never get 20 field trips. It's just not going to happen in this day and age. How can you do that and maximize that? And much of what Liz and Ross are going to be talking about are things that are highly portable to going back to that place that you call home, and sucking everything out of that experience that you can with your kids. Because whatever your place looks like, if you're a very urban school, your kids are very urban, probably. So that looks like home to them. It's like they don't know any of these species. They don't recognize any of these species that we'll be finding, but they all live there. So use that and use that well. Think about how that works in your place.